session, and the chairperson of this session, I invite Dr. Suresh Matthew, editor, Indian Currents, Delhi. Over to you, Mr. Suresh.
Good morning. I'm very glad to introduce the chairman of this session, Dr. Jose Nandikara, and welcome him and other 5 speakers of this session that deals with the theme Peace, Education for a Civilization of Love. Dr. Jose Nandikara is presently the Regional Director of GlobeEthics.net India. He is a professor in Dharmaram Vidyakshetram and the Department of Philosophy at Christ University, Bangalore. He serves as the Director of the Center for the Study of World Religions and Chief Editor of the Journal of Dharma. He also works in the fields of comparative religion and religious experience and promotes faith-seeking harmony of life and fellowship in religious experience. He's a visiting professor in several academic institutions in India and abroad. He has an excellent academic record with an MA in philosophy and theology from Oxford University, as well as a licentiate in philosophy from Gregorian University, Rome. He holds a PhD in philosophy from Warwick University, UK. He has published more than 20 research articles in a number of national and international journals and edited compilations. He has attended various national and international conferences where he presented research papers. We cordially welcome you, Dr. Jose Nandikara, as chairman of this session.
Thank you, sir.
5 eminent speakers will be sharing participants their views. They are Dr. Leema, novelist, poet, columnist, and assistant professor, Bankura University, West Bengal. Dr. Edwaed, professor of philosophy, Notredame University, Lebanon. Sanjoli Banerjee of Christ University, Bangalore. Angel Hayes, social worker, Wien, Austria. Radia Bakkouch, president, Coexister, France. They will be introduced before they start their speech. On behalf of National Peace Movement and all participants, I cordially welcome the 5 distinguished speakers, extending most cordial welcome to all participants. I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the cordial welcome. Thank you so much. So let us now begin with the session. And I invite the chairperson of today's session, the eminent personality, Dr. Jose Nandikara, and he's the moderator of the session also. So I request Dr. Jose to take over the session and take the further proceedings. One of our eminent chairperson of this important session. So I request Dr. Jose to take over the session with the proceedings of the second session. Over to Dr. Jose.
Thank you very much, Sangeeta Jain. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Suresh Matthew, for the warm words of welcome. And once again, welcome to all the participants. This very important session on peace education for a civilization of love. We had a very good, enriching session, inspiring from our youth in the morning. Now, our first speaker is Dr. Leema, Dhar, a young bilingual poet, novelist, columnist, and a motivational speaker. Presently, Dr. Leema Dhar is assistant professor in Bankura University, West Bengal. She has written 7 books, including 5 novels and 2 anthologies of poetry in Hindi and English. She was honored at the 28th International Conference of Indo-Canadian Authors in Central University of Allahabad in 2015. She has also received many other awards. We cordially welcome you, Dr. Leema Dhar, to deliver your thoughts and views on peace education for a civilization of love. Over to you, Dr. Leema Dhar.
Thank you, Father. Am I audible, Father?
Yes, you
Yes,
are.
very audible.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good morning, respected all the dignitaries and everybody present online. And I'm very glad to be a part of such an enriching session. My topic would be on peace, literature, and humanity, which is the essence of existence. In one of these winter evenings, there was a sudden storm. I rushed to collect the clothes that I had put out to dry in my balcony, and I noticed a pigeon sitting on my balcony swing, bobbing its head, curious and observant. I was in my room, observing the bird outside the window. It found a small space in the attic. I went closer for inspection, and there I witnessed it laying eggs. Due to lack of space and in a state of hurry, 2 of the eggs fell down and broke. Without wasting a second, the pigeon immediately took the remaining eggs, covered it with sticks and straw. Then it flew away, only to come back with some food. I realized that the storm could only affect the pigeon as much as the pigeon wanted itself to be affected. The attitude of the little bird was stronger than the storm itself. The bird didn't carry the baggage of what was lost, but it surely had the attitude to look forward to what is in its control and what could be changed for the better. Now the question arises, who is the pigeon? Is it you? Is it me? Or is it everything around us? The only difference being that the human mind is more prone to a life of competition and stress and simply forgets that time itself is fleeting away and every step that we take each day brings us closer to the grave. So why not start picking up the bits and pieces of what is left after what is already gone and strive to find just the right attitude which would bring peace and love to humanity? Even Gandhiji used to say that it is more important to be humane than to be human. We are so busy running behind that particular car, that specific house, that dream job, or that passionate relationship that we forget to count our blessings. We are so busy walking on the road to counting the things that we want in life that we forget the things that are walking along with us. When I read a good book, for a moment I felt as if I have become that character, as I have become the Alice in Wonderland. So, why is it that fantasy attracts us more than reality does? Because reality is made up of human perception. For instance, consider an apple. We look at it, and the first thing that comes to our mind is that it's a fruit, it's red, and it's healthy. And that becomes your reality. But when we look at the apple for a few more seconds, you would realize that the apple symbolically stands for the Garden of Eden. It carries the footprints of Adam and Eve and the beginning of the entire cosmos. Think about it. That very moment, does this particular apple ceases to be a fruit? No. It is still the very same red fruit that you had initially seen on the table. The thing is, the thing that decided the worth of the apple now is your perception. Cut that apple in two. You will then find 2 pieces of you, reality and imagination. Look at the flowers and and how beautiful they are in their own respective appearances and fragrance. But what makes the flowers appear prettier is the way they are weaved together in a common thread of garland. And for the flowers of humanity, literature is a weaver. Take 5 minutes out from your busy schedule every day, and you will find pieces of you in practically everything that surrounds you. If we look at the clock, we may visualize those two hands of the clock which meet only at 12, the time that denotes the change of the day, and the final stroke of midnight that indicate symbolically birth and death. And in terms of humanity, does this mean that those two hands are the body and soul that would unite spiritually only twice? Once when we are born, and the second when we die? Everything that's in between is the material world. It is the time that is wasting us away. Remember that our bodies will eventually turn into rotten bones. And the only way to immortalize our existence, to help humanity, is to find what the Japanese calls the ikigai, the purpose and meaning of your life. If we have to push ourselves to get up from bed in the morning to go to work, it indicates that your entire being is trapped in a soda bottle. And in order to fly free, you just need to shake yourself up to finally release the pressure we all live with. Living on our own terms, striving to spread peace and love in humanity doesn't always guarantee success, money, or fame, but it surely guarantees contentment and happiness. Though this equation does not appear to be beneficial, and I wish life was as simple as finding an X in mathematics. The examination of life, rather, is a bit different than what we are used to. There are no definitive formulas or theorems to solve the problems of life. The ultimate judgment on our answer sheets would be given by God, and that would be assessed on the basis of how much effort we had actually put in to find an answer. Don't we all feel nostalgic just by looking at the waves in the ocean? See the waves closely, and you may find yourself as a child, rolling up and down, jumping, hopping, thrashing on the rocks, as if life had no worries, as if life was as sorted as buying an ice cream from a roadside vendor. We grow up, and then we ourselves are stuck in a cobweb of responsibilities, competition, duties, and materialism. We find that the child who once used to be content with buying an ice cream looks at us to keep the spark and purpose alive. But too much materialism and too much inhumanity and worldliness actually makes us go away from the key to the door of our hearts. How far do you think your voice would be heard? How long would you walk without actually taking people with you? How much would you want to concentrate in a life without thinking about those tears and bloodshed that goes on in different parts of the world? You may wish to buy the best cheeseburger available in town. And another 5-year-old in ragged clothes would look from outside the glass walls of a big restaurant, thinking, what if he gets one chapati to be shared between him and his mother? Does that mean that buying that burger makes you inhuman? No. But not helping someone when you can afford to help does. When Gandhiji was in South Africa, he was looking for a pencil that he thought he had lost. When he was asked that it was merely a small pencil and he was offered a new one to write with, he said something that struck with me. That 2-inch pencil was more important than anything in the world because it was given by a little child. So we see, it's not a thing in particular, but the memory associated with it is what makes life worthwhile. Each of us in this world are different flavors of ice cream. Not everybody would choose you. Not everybody would understand the flavor of your perception. Not everybody would value you if you want to help someone. But if we keep doing good deeds, a time would come when your worth would be recognized. And in that moment, we will organically find the answer to life's purpose. And we'll see, after all, the heart doesn't really need a key to open. That very moment, we unite with God and become one with all the 5 elements. If not more, let us all strive to help at least that one person we see every day who is in dire need of help. To conclude, I would say that one specific day we'll find that small child that we felt nostalgic about right there waiting for us. The day that we keep doing good deeds and keep the rest to God. And the next time someone asks you about the reason of your happiness, tell them with a smile that true happiness lies in making others smile, in spreading love and peace in humanity, in seeing that the world is finally free from wars, droughts, famines, and floods. That very day, the child in you would come alive again, holding your favorite ice cream, only to make you realize that happiness doesn't lie in big things. It's inherent in the little joys of life. So remember to run in life, but let humanity follow you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Leema Dhar, for your poetic an inspiring speech starting with the story of the pigeon. Let's discover our imaginative power and use it for peace education for a civilization of love. As you rightly said, more than striving for money, power, and fame, let's create more peaceful and peace-building stories for ourselves and for others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father.
Our next speaker is a personal friend of mine from Lebanon. He wrote me last night there is some problem with the internet connection there. So, Edward, if you are around, I can't see him in the list. We move to the next speaker, and if Edward Allen joins us later, we would listen to him. So may I request Ms. Sanjoli Banerjee, a student of Master of Social Work at Christ University, Bangalore. She graduated from the Australian National University, Canberra, in International Security Studies. She has been a social activist since age 7 and one-day senator at the Australian Federal Parliament. Ms. Sanjoli Banerjee, on behalf of the Peace Convention, let me welcome you and invite you to this panel session on peace education for a civilization of love and deliver your views and thoughts. Most welcome, Ms. Sanjoli Banerjee.
Thank you very much, Father. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that lovely introduction, Father. Good morning, everyone. And it is an absolute honor to be here and sharing the panel with some of the very esteemed speakers. I'm glad to be the youngest speaker here alongside this panel. So I shall be sharing my thoughts on peace. And then briefly, I'll share my journey with peace and finally discuss 4 paths to peace that I believe in. In these rapidly changing times that we are living in, everything is evolving at an ever faster rate, be it our habits, our lives, our health, priorities, values, or nature of social challenges. Everything is becoming more competitive, evoking instant gratification, and disconnecting us from our community, ourselves, and from the nature. This shallowness or so-called advancement through globalization and liberalization is a big cause of disharmony and misery in the world right now. Given that, there is a dire need to speak of and spread peace to bring us together. Well, I and my quest for peace share a long journey. It was at the age of 5 years that I first got out on the roads protesting against sex-selective abortion of daughters, also called female feticide, which is quite rampant in North India especially. So I started advocating for the daughters' right to birth and life through poems, theater, speeches, etc. And then I went on a road expedition at the age of 9 years from Haryana to Maharashtra and back, covering 5,000 kilometers, spreading the message of save trees, save daughters. Because I believe that both of these 2 lifelines share a strong connect with each other and help in humans' survival. I engaged with different schools and colleges and villages on the way, spreading the same message. At 16, I wrote a letter to Prime Minister Modi suggesting 14 pragmatic solutions to curb female feticide at the macro level. At 18, I went on to study international security studies at the Australian National University, Canberra. A year later, I adopted a village for its rural development and to make it a model village, only to found a free mobile school for children called Sushiksha at age 20. And now at 21, I'm currently studying social work at Christ University, Bangalore, and have decided to dedicate the rest of my life to service. One common element across all three of these fields has been peace, be it social work, social activism, or my security studies degree. In my eyes, there are four major paths to fostering a peaceful world: mindfulness for individual, education for societies, clairvoyant and purposeful leadership for a country, and collaboration at the international level. I believe a person can experience ultimate peace when they are aware of the present and they are in the moment. Our current and emerging generations are born with technology in their hands, in more fast paced worlds, and in smaller families. Ours is an ambitious generation, thanks to big dreams and competition for better education, job, materialistic possessions, luxury, etc., that we do not have the time to pause and reflect, to be grateful and mindful. But it is only when we shall accept ourselves, be content and refreshed, that we shall be at peace with ourselves as well as we will be able to contribute to the society. Further, since the panel is on peace education for a civilization of love, I would predominantly like to emphasize upon the role of education. In a country of 1.3 billion people, where only 260 million students attend school, the first concern for our society remains to take education to the grassroots level, followed by determining the nature of this education and to make it more holistic. Beyond our conventional subjects like science, math, languages, or social sciences, there must be an engaging curriculum right from the primary school to imbibe the impressionable minds with the philosophy of Gandhi and his principles of non-violence, truth, service, self-reliance, and satyagraha. When societies are well educated and aware, they tend to be more inclusive and peaceful. And when a generation is raised right through a collective effort from home and school, each one of them shall then become a messenger of peace. Unfortunately, in the contemporary world, identities are increasingly being reinforced globally to break societies and thus breed hatred, ideology-led terrorism, be it right-wing or left-wing, polarization, religious fundamentalism, and communalization. However, there is a crucial role of the leader to direct and guide the citizens towards a path of unity and peace, instead of playing divisive politics, segregating and reinforcing distinct identities, and ruling them. When all of this happens, countries can cooperate and partner on a common platform to advocate for peace, not just to pay a lip service, but actually to practice it. I will quote the example of Bhutan here. It is a neighboring country of India and is actually one of the most peaceful countries in the world, since it promotes spirituality and happiness index instead of GDP, and it has no clash of interests with any other state. I would like to talk about my security studies degree and some concepts from that. In fact, during my degree, we studied that some of the biggest threats to the world today remain climate change, terrorism, interstate as well as intrastate wars, and refugee crisis. And most of us might rightfully agree to it. But upon a closer look, I found that these were all actually individual level or micro level issues. It was not terrorism, but the lack of right direction that was the threat. It is not rising sea levels, but the individual practices and apathy that is dangerous. Similarly, lack of leadership and unrest in minds causes refugee crisis, and lack of collaboration among countries leads to wars and conflicts. Therefore, there's a greater need to start from the grassroots, which is also why I switched to social work. It is incumbent upon us to reconnect with nature, to take time out for ourselves, prioritize our lives, render services to humanity, and thus carrying peace within ourselves. I believe peace is contagious. I won't call it infectious, but it is contagious since it spreads from one person to another if one carries it within themselves. In this view, there's a dire need to reorient ourselves, especially in the current pandemic times. We need to embrace each other, stand up against a social evil, speak out, and take care of ourselves. Since we are commemorating Gandhiji's death anniversary today, I would like to conclude with his words. If we are to teach real peace in this world, and if we are to bring a real war against war, we will have to start with the children. Wishing goodness for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sanjoli Banerjee. I'm very happy that you are a student here at Christ University, where I also teach. We are
Yes.
so proud of you at a very young age of 21. You have a great story to narrate, inspiring for us, young people, as well as for your seniors. Your ambitions are a model for all of us, starting with taking care of the trees and the daughters. You have made a wonderful journey. I hope and pray you continue your journey, and through your witness and through your inspiration, many more youth, especially those who are listening at this time, would follow you, would follow the path of peace.
Thank you very much.
It is very interesting and important that you show the personal dimension in the big issues of the people and planet, in climate change and terrorism, as USM and Father Verghese always advocates personal transformation for social transformation. Thank you, Sanjoli. Hope we will meet sometime here at Christ. All
Absolutely,
the best.
Father. Thank you so much. I'm humbled to hear that. Thank you, Father.
Thank you. Our third speaker shares views from Namibia as well as from Vienna, Austria, Europe. She is Miss Angel Hayes. She was born in Okahandja in Namibia and currently works as a professional social worker and nurse assistant. Dear Angel Hayes, on behalf of the Global Peace Convention, may I most cordially welcome you to the panel on peace education for a civilization of love and share your views from your experience and expertise. Most welcome, Angel Hayes.
Thank you very much, Father. Thank you, everyone. I'm happy to participate in this wonderful convention. I hope I'm audible.
You are audible, but if you could raise your volume slightly more, it would be better. It's feeble for old people like us. If you could raise slightly your volume.
All right. So, hi, my name is Angel Hayes. I was born and raised in Namibia, but I am currently a social worker and a nurse assistant in the capital city of Vienna, of Austria, Vienna. So, combining my childhood and the blessings of education, I would like to talk to you about endurance, which is the ability to sit through life's commodes for as long as necessary. I would also like to talk to you about perseverance, which is your ability to get off the pot, enter an opportunity to take a mental shift. I was raised by a single parent who was my grandmother. I watched her work hard to provide for us, to keep herself busy and also just moving in life. I admired her independent spirit and yet also dependency on God in so many things. She put me through school and did the best she could for us. All this time, I did not know I was watching her. But that's what children do. Children watch all the time. They watch the adults in their lives. So I know that now, especially because I myself am a parent. Anyways, I watched my grandmother live her life and being an example. Over time, I realized that I too wanted to be a great example. I wanted to work hard. I wanted to be a blessing to someone or others. I wanted to do my part and give back to society. Because though I had very little material wise, I had been given a whole lot of values to pursue the one thing that could open doors of opportunities, which is education. And so I took studying seriously. Between doing my house chores as a Namibian girl in a household, this is very usual that one, as the oldest child, as the oldest girl child, you have a lot of chores to do. But still, even with this, I would make sure to create time for my studies, for my homework, for my assignments. And that meant most of the time going to bed at 8 and waking up at 2 a.m. just to do my own stuff, to prepare for school, to study for an exams, and so on. So the point that I want to make is that through endurance, perseverance, and dependency on God, I made it in the end. I'm still learning and I'm still growing. Today, I am not just an example to my family, to my siblings, but I'm also an example in the society and the country where I now have made a new home. I feel like in my own way, I represent Africa. I educate others who are curious to know about Africa and from a personal view and not just what we hear and see in the media and so on. I talk to older people whose mindset on other continents, and especially Africa, is different from what we know now, or is different from the way I know it. I speak to kids in kindergartens about Africa, how big and how diverse it is, and that actually there are peaceful countries in Africa and so on. So my point that I want to make is to you who might need this words of as a reminder and encouragement. I would like to use the words of Helen Keller to say that a bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the 10. So indeed, education is a blessing, is the key that opens doors of opportunities for us. And with those opportunities, we meet people, we connect, we share ideas. So I say, do not give up, keep going. It will be all worth it in the end. The world could use your input. Your contribution to the cause of peace through education is needed and it matters. So keep working. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Angel, for your personal sharing. It is very inspiring that to listen to your personal story, learning from your mother, her experience, perseverance, and trust in God, you learned very important lessons for your life, and now you are sharing for all of us. Like your mother, I can assure you, Angel Hayes, you are a blessing. By your sharing and your expertise and commitment, you bring blessings to others. Your values, as you yourself expressed, are more valuable than money that you could gather. What you insisted on education is important for all of us, elders and the youth. And this session is particularly on peace education for a civilization of love. Education is important and a blessing, and it opens doors and roads to peaceful world. Thank you very much, Ms. Angel Hayes. Our next speaker is from France, a young entrepreneur. She's Miss Radia Bakkouch. She's president of Coexister in France, an interfaith youth-led movement that offers 2,000 young people every year to experience diversity in a positive way through peace education programs. Radia is in charge of advocacy, the research department, and strategic partnerships. She also facilitates trainings on interfaith cooperation and peace building all around the world. Radia graduated with a degree in international public management from the very prestigious Paris School of International Affairs in Sciences Po, and did an exchange program in Tel Aviv University, where she studied geopolitics, peace, and conflicts in the Middle East. I welcome you very cordially, Ms. Radia, on behalf of the Global Peace Convention, and invite you to deliver your experience, your views, and your presentation. Most welcome, Radia Bakkouch.
Thank you very, very much for inviting me today, and thank you for the introduction. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
You are audible. Thank you.
Perfect. So I would like to thank you very much for this amazing invitation. I'm very honored and I feel so small to be surrounded by such esteemed panelists that are really, really inspiring. So thank you very much. So I'm 20 years old. I'm Mediterranean, coming from different countries. I haven't said it in the bio because I wanted to share it with you today. I'm from Morocco, Lebanon, Palestine, and France. And while the Mediterranean Sea is always symbolized with a lot of conflict. So I mean, maybe that my identity led me to work in peace education. So I'm very happy. So it's like kind of personal, but also professional. I would like to share with you today 4 steps, 4 points on this very, very important topic, on the fact that how peace education can lead to a civilization of love. So the first point I wanted to share with you today is that we need to realize, we need to be aware that a civilization of love is not a fact. It is not still. It is not stationary. It is not acquired. Every day, a civilization of love needs to be built, needs to be thinking of, and it can constantly be better and be improved. When we started Coexister, we used to say the goal of Coexister is to see Coexister disappear, meaning, well, we're going to reach someday an ideal, we're going to reach someday a goal. But we realized after some years that there are always going to be people who needs to be educated of a civilization of love. There are always something we should improve in terms of a collective society. So no, there is not, like, our goal is not to disappear. Our goal is to make this goal of civilization of love a goal for every individual and for a society as a whole. My second point is that because I studied conflict resolution, peace building, and stuff like that, and I realized that we usually learn to make peace, meaning we acknowledge the fact that we need to have a conflict before. And one of our solutions, one of our goals in Coexister is not just to learn to make peace, but to learn peace. What is peace as a whole, not linked to a conflict? Because a civilization of love, that's peace as a whole. And that's not just reacting to a conflict, but really to make peace and to learn peace, to learn peace as something as a whole. And that is very, very important, to not just learn to react, but learn to do, to make, to be involved. The third thing is also for me, peace education to reach a civilization of war comes not just from learning soft skills or learning knowledge or just going to school. It also comes from experience. Experience, that is peace education. It's meeting people who are deeply in disagreement with, meeting with people that you have a lot of cliche about meeting with people that you would have never imagined to be in the same room, like when you get older. And that is very important. We need to go outside of our comfort zone. We need to feel not very good with the people, because we need to learn how to react facing the people who are really different. It comes from experience. Peace education comes from experience, and that is why it's constantly being better. I come back from it to my first point. We always need more experience. Experience comes with time. And the fourth point that I wanted to share with you today is that peace education needs to include the duty of remembrance, meaning that, for example, in France, we of course have a lot of classes of history, and we learn history and stuff, but we don't we don't remember what it means for the society. We don't take a step ahead and say, okay, we are gonna be calm and remember the conflicts, remember the wars, and remember how we touched people, how we touched the people around us, how we touched our families. And we need to learn remembrance, and we need to learn history, so we never do the same mistakes, and we come to a civilization of love. As a conclusion, I would like also to share with you a personal story. Why did I decided to go to Tel Aviv University with my Palestinian origin? It's because I had only one side in terms of the conflict in the Middle East, and I wanted to feel weird. I wanted to go to the outside. I wanted to go to the other side of the wall. That's the meaning of my experience there in the Holy Land, to discover Jerusalem, to discover the whole country and the whole region, but not just by books, not just by my family, but by experience, to experience what it is to go to the other side of the wall. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your personal story, as well as very clear-cut 4 steps for the peace education for a civilization of love, starting from Morocco and now kind of presently in France. I would say most welcome to India. One day, hopefully, you will come to India and participate in one of the peace convention, stay some time here, share your views, and learn as well. Your 4 steps are very important. I'm fascinated with our young people, so articulate and so systematic. A civilization of love is a process. It's never a finished product, but every day we could create. And the second step, not only we learn to make peace, we learn peace, our personal realization of peace for a peaceful civilization of love. And we learn from experience, not just from the experts. We learn a lot of theories and conflicts and histories, but what about my personal life? Not just for the exams and for a job, but personally. Fourthly, the duty of remembrance, something I never thought seriously. We need to remember our past, not just to repeat the past, but to learn from the mistakes as well as from the strength from our past, from the wars and conflicts, as well as our peace-building processes that we could learn. So their personal story is also challenging and inspiring. I spent 6 weeks in near to a border of Palestine and Israel, going to Palestine as well as to the Holy Land, the Jerusalem, and some other parts. But your experience, I'm sure, much more personal and much more valuable. Thank you very much for your personal sharing, and hope we keep in touch so that we build up truly a civilization of love.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me see whether Edward is present. As I can see, he is not present. So there is some, as you would understand, there were some problems in Lebanon. And now he wrote me yesterday from his phone that there are some problems for internet connection, and he hoped he will be able to join us today. Sorry, that's all we could say. Now I move to my presentation or my views, not because I have something more than these young people. I'm very fascinated by the sharing of this.
Jose,
Yes, yes.
maybe before you speak, maybe you can, there you could have interactions, questions. That will be good.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So in the previous session, the questions were after the chair speaking. So I thought that's the same plan. So most welcome for the questions and answers to the 4 panelists. They had a very interesting views. So I welcome, and the organizers would tell me to invite or to coordinate the session. If I see them a question, certainly I could read, or one of you could, from the organizers, you could read.
When the hand is risen, you can call out also. We will also tell. Hand
Yeah,
will
sure.
be raised. Virtual hand.
We will collaborate.
Yeah, yeah.
So the participants, most welcome to raise your questions and comments. Keep it as short as possible, your questions, so that more people will get an opportunity and to listen to your experience. If your question is specific to one of the panelists, please make it. And as usual, we give first preference to the youth, then to the elders. Thank you.
You can keep it open, Jose, for everybody.
Yes, it's open. It's open. If I see. Now I see Asma Arif. Asma, you are most welcome. I hope the organizers please unmute Asma Arif.
So as we all know, experience teaches us more. It was a very, thank you panelists for sharing us the most beautiful memories of your lives and experiences, and it taught us more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have any comment other than the thanks?
Yeah, that's what experiences teaches us more. That's what I learned from them.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Asma, for your observation.
Jadhav had lifted the hand. Usha Jadhav.
There was Charvi Singh.
Yes, lift your hands, virtual hand through.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
Good morning. Am I
Welcome,
audible?
Chavi. Yes, very audible, Chavi.
Yeah, good morning. So I have a question from Radia ma'am. She highlighted the awareness. So, could she tell that how we can have awareness in an effective manner than the known we are known about?
The last part of the question was a bit lagging. Could you repeat on awareness, Chavi?
How we can have an effective awareness among the citizens, among the people for the peace?
Thank you very much. Dr. Ms. Radia, are you, did you
Yes,
listen
I'm
to
here.
the,
Yes.
please respond. We would be happy.
I heard the question. Thank you very much for this question. It's really important how to raise awareness. We usually say that we need 3.5% of the population to reverse completely a state of mind of a whole society, of a whole population. Well, we need people like you, people like me, people like all of us here in this great convention to go and plant some seeds of peace everywhere we go. we need to be very solid in terms of sharing the knowledge and sharing the experience. And I would say that we can completely balance the society if we are 3.5%, but also if we are very, very inspirational, if we have very, very inspirational leaders to come with us. But leaders, like, it's not enough. We need really people like you, people like me, people like all of us to share the awareness in the whole society.
Thank you, Radia. You are a leader, and Chavi, you are also a leader. Together we make. And there is Lucy Kasanga. Most welcome, Lucy, to raise your point.
Thank you so much. I've been inspired by these young people and talking about peace. I have a question for Radia as well. Your experience having gone to the Holy Land and having lived on the other side, I've had the opportunity to visit the two sides as well. And I've found some most amazing young people who are trying to do exactly what you're doing. But can you tell me what you think can be done to continue building this relationship and bring peace that is real and experienced? Thank you. And can I also ask the first speaker?
We will first listen to Radia, and then we can have once more. Radia,
Okay.
do you like to respond?
Yes, thank you very, very much, Lucy, for your question. I actually saw, of course, I went from Palestine to Israel, to Jerusalem during my experience there. So I saw both sides. And actually what I learned is also that there are not two sides. There are like this one situation with multiple factors. And I met with amazing people that are really, really involved in peace initiatives there. I had the immense opportunity to also find the home of my grandmother who left Haifa when in 1948. So it's like really part of my personal journey, but also part of the whole situation there. So of course I met with the more than just two sides, more than just one side, every side that there are to see, but 1 year is of course not enough. And for your second question, I really would say that we need to be more exigent, more. It is not easy. It's not just being here 2 hours and having like meeting or learning something for 2 hours in a year or something. It's an everyday life involvement, commitment. So yeah, like the people who are aware that we need to build a civilization of love, we need to peace educate ourselves and everyone else. Everyone else should do the same. We need to put some more time, put some more effort. And I know that it is hard. This is not easy, but even with acknowledging that, we need to do more.
Thank you very much, Radia, reminding us that it's not one side, not two sides, many sides. Lucy, could you please proceed to raise your second question to Dr. Leema Dhar? Lucy?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute.
Yeah, please.
I was actually almost transfixed when the young lady spoke about some of the major problems the world is facing. And she said, these are micro. And the way she explained it was absolutely amazing in a way I've never seen. And she went on to show what was really behind this. I would like her to just again explain what she said, because I find this concept of looking at what the real issues are, is that we see them maybe with a worldview without translating them down to the individual level. And she has brought this realization that peace education must begin with the individual and begin to look at your life and the life around you, bearing peace with love in that context. I'd really like her to explain a little bit more on that concept, which I found absolutely enchanting.
Thank you, Lucy. Like all of us, you are also enchanted with the poetic and the imaginative presentations of Dr. Leema. Dr. Leema, could you kindly elaborate a little more?
Yes, Father, of course. Thank you so much, Lucy ma'am, for such a wonderful question. And I'm so happy and deeply humbled and honored by your warm appreciation. First, let me just speak on my own personal experience. When I was of the age 3, I wrote my first 3 lines. I'm a novelist and bilingual poet. I wrote my first 3 lines, and those 3 lines were, my father is fat, the cat lies on a mat, and I have a bat. So these 3 lines initially made no sense to me. Like I say that it's a line written by a 3-year-old, so very childish, very kiddish. But when I went to my father with those 3 lines, he analyzed those lines for about like 45 minutes. And he said how deep these lines are. In future, you are eventually going to be a great poet and writer. And I was just, I was a kid, so I thought that probably he is, joking, or maybe he's my father, so he'll always appreciate no matter how rubbish I write. And eventually I wrote and wrote. People of my age, the kids of my age used to, play outside. I used to observe them playing rather than participate in that play. During the lunch breaks also in school, I used to be a little secluded, deeply writing down what the people were actually doing rather than participating with them. So eventually, when I reached an age when I took science in class 11th, and then after that, the society expected me, like they always expect, that if you take up science like physics, chemistry, mathematics, you have to give the engineering exam. And if you opt for biology, then you have to sit for medical. This is the societal convention. And initially, I thought that probably maybe I should give in to the convention. So I just sat for the exam. I qualified. And just one night before I had to go to that prestigious college of engineering, government college, the NIT, I told my father that probably this is not what I want to do. Even if I get the job, even if I get the opportunity, I won't be happy. Even if it is a well-paid job, at the end of the day, I would think that what if I followed my own passion? And I think that what if is what has made me today. I pursued humanities. I became a professor. My novels were published. It is just because of the simple fact that you have to have just one moment of realization in order to bring a transformation in yourself. And we cannot be the entire ocean, but we can just be one single drop. So that particular starting point, that single drop was myself, when I thought that probably I am not realizing the real purpose behind what I wanted to do. My parents have been pretty supportive. My father still date. He says that if you want to become a successful writer, even if you cannot write, you have to sit in front of the laptop or write with a pen or paper and write 500 words each day. I used to initially tear those pieces of work and throw them in the trash. And my mom used to stay awake all night taping those bits and pieces and again forming the code. And I asked her one day that why are you doing so much when it means nothing to me? I mean, I've just thrown it away. And she said that every bit of the piece that you tear is the piece that carries the heart, your writer's heart, the writer's passion. And I think I'll always cherish that. And if we sort of bring this transformation in our lives to realize what we are, to realize our own hidden potential, I think nobody can stop us from achieving peace and love in the world and establish love in the world.
Thank you, Dr. Leema. You are very skilled and fortunate to have such lovely parents. Your dad finding beauty in those 3 lines, and your parents permitting you to go to the humanities, though you are a very brilliant student and cleared for NEET exam.
Father Jose,
Yes.
sorry for interrupting you. I feel Lucy is a Rotary Governor, District 9210, Lucy
great.
Kasanga. Lucy, we are very honored that you are part of us. Yesterday also, I saw you today also. It's a great honor. Would you introduce yourself, Rotarian Lucy? It will be a great encouragement for us. Will you introduce yourself, where you are, which is the country? I know the district here, RID 9210, and we are very happy we welcome our
The issues of peace are really at my heart, and I couldn't keep away, but I'm glad I did stick around. I've been inspired through and through. The young people and the things they're telling us to pay attention to are amazing. I'm the current district governor for District 9210, which includes 4 countries: Zambia, the country I live in, Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Mozambique, the northern part of Mozambique. So, and these, some of our countries, currently, particularly Mozambique, is rocked with insurgencies. There is fighting, and we need peace. We need to begin to practice peace, and peace is one of the focus areas that Rotary has been talking about and does a lot of work to contribute towards positive peace. There is negative peace where everything is quiet, which is particularly in most of our countries. There is seemingly peace, but down there, latent disagreements between political parties, between different tribes, and we need to learn more so that we can help the young people to grow up with positive peace, which is what I've been hearing. Peace that is peace education that transforms, that is transformed by love, in my view. So thank you for having me. It's been absolutely a pleasure. I chair what we call electoral conflict management committees in Zambia. So I've been largely engaged in trying to find political peace that will allow politicians to only use their manifestos to gain their votes by telling people what they can do, not by destroying one another, but by seeing that they are trying to save the same country and they need all the voters alive in order for the voters to appreciate their different manifestos and proposals of how they want to develop the country. So thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this. And I've enjoyed each one of the presenters. Have been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Rotarian Lucy, that you as a district governor of these 4 countries, you are with us and you have made us great honor. You have given us great honor. And I hope we will continue our collaboration from now. It is not the first and the last, it's only beginning. Thank you very much for taking time. Thank you so much. Yes, Jose, you can conclude. Now you can do your speech, then we will wind up. You can conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Verghese. And thank you, Rotarian Lucy Kasanga and other participants who raised the questions and who actively involved in the discussion. Thank you very much for the panelists, Dr. Leema Dhar, Ms. Sanjoli Banerjee, Ms. Angel Hayes, and Ms. Radia Bakkouch for your inspiring, informative, and excellent presentations. To conclude the session, let me begin with the beatitude that's given by Jesus Christ. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Peace is a gift. Peacemaking is also a moral right and a duty. Let's pray for a moment so that we become peace agents and build a civilization of love. Let me begin with an icon today, Greta Thunberg, a young person who addressed the UN, challenging the world leaders. How dare you? People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction. And all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? The politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight. These were the words of Greta before the COVID-19 pandemic. And today, these observations and challenges are more demanding. How do we effectively respond to the cry of the people and planet for peace and prosperity today? How are we to build up a peaceful society and a civilization of love? As this session is on peace education, my first point is on the 4 pillars of learning and education given by UNESCO in 1996. The first pillar is learning to know. With regard to peace education, we need to learn as peace builders in our curricula, in our course objectives, and in our learning outcomes for every subject, whether it is science, technology, and mathematics, or the humanities. We need to see peace as a learning outcome. It has to be in the curriculum, not just as one course. The second pillar is learning to do. As our speakers, panelists reminded us, it's not just something that we learn in the school and score an A+ or very good mark, and maybe also get a good job. Peace building is an everyday experience, never a finished product. And we need to learn to live together. As we peace build, we learn peace. We build a civilization of love. The fourth pillar of education is learning to be a personal realization, becoming peace agent. As USM reminds us always, personal transformation before social transformation. Through our education, we need to build up our character and competence, confidence, and contribute to a civilization of love. The second picture that I would like to present before you is the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. As you know, the UN General Assembly on 25th September 2015, 5 years back, adopted a resolution with a charter of 17 goals and 169 targets to be achieved by 2030 for people and planet, peace and prosperity. We resolve to build a better future for all people, including the millions who have been denied the chance to lead decent dignified, and rewarding lives to achieve their full potential. And the resolution reminds we can be the first generation to succeed in ending poverty, just as we may be the last generation to have a chance of saving the planet. The world will be a better place in 2030 if we succeed in our objectives. Sustainable development, in the words of Brundtland, is a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own ends. Sustainability, thus, a comprehensive notion for people living in peace and prosperity on the planet. And the development goals is a transformative agenda with a conviction that our individual and collective actions and partnerships will transform our world, people and planet, bringing peace and prosperity for all, building a civilization of love. It is a sad fact and an ethical issue that unjust inequalities exist, and they are increasing within and among the nations, and the disadvantaged groups suffer disproportionately from the disastrous effects of market-driven development. Even during the COVID-19, when most of the nations and most of the people suffer, our billionaires made a great profit. If they share that profit with the people who suffer, our world would be a better place, more peaceful. It is therefore a moral imperative that we develop an action plan, bringing together all the fields of knowledge and economic and political powers, providing an antidote to the culture driven by market economy and short-term electoral goals and politics. My third presentation, third model is Gandhian Path to Peace. Announcing the martyrdom on 30th January 1948, Jawaharlal Nehru, the Prime Minister, said, "The light has gone out of our lives and there is darkness everywhere." He added, however, "The light has gone out," I said, "and yet I was wrong. For the light that shone in this country was no ordinary light. The light that has illumined this country for these many years will illumine this country for many more years. And 1,000 years later, that light will be seen in this country and the world will see it, and it will give solace to innumerable hearts." The Gandhian path is a necessity today. And I congratulate USM for keeping this peace convention beginning on the martyrdom day of Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi was a votary of truth. Satyagraha teaches, in his words, the art of living as well as dying. What distinguishes man, humanity, from the brute animal world is our conscious striving to realize the spirit within. Gandhi connected Satyagraha with Ahimsa, and these are the path for peace according to Gandhi. Ahimsa is my God, and truth is my God. These are his words. When I look for Ahimsa, truth says, find it out through me. And as the means of achieving truth, we need to practice Ahimsa in our everyday life, and by extension, in humanity's journey towards a civilization of love. My fourth and final reminder is the 5 paths for personal transformation that's given by USM. I know most of us are familiar with it, It's a reminder at the conclusion of this panel to practice it diligently daily. 1. Pray daily for peace and forgiveness, to be an agent of peace and reconciliation. 2. Skip a meal a week to express solidarity with the hungry and contribute the savings to the poor and the needy. 3. Do a good deed a day without any selfish motive to develop loving concern for the nation. 4. Honor parents, teachers, and all human beings. 5. Respect the earth and save its resources. Let's learn to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Dear friends, ours is a time of great promise and a potential for peril. Together, with confidence and competence, we need to build up character based on truth and love. Let me conclude with the dream, sharing the dream by Mahatma Gandhi. I shall work for an India, and by extension to the world, in which the poorest shall feel that it is their country, in whose making they have an effective voice, an India in which there shall be no high class and low class of people, an India in which all communities shall live in perfect harmony. There can be no room in such an India for the curse of untouchability or the curse of the intoxicating drinks and drugs. Women will enjoy the same rights as men. Since we shall be at peace with all the rest of the world, neither exploiting nor being exploited, we should have the smallest army imaginable. This is the India of my dreams. I shall be satisfied with nothing else. I conclude with a prayer. Loving God, creator of heaven and earth, and all therein contained, open our minds and touch our hearts so that we can be part of creation, your gift. Be present to those in need in these difficult times, especially the poorest and most vulnerable. Help us to show creative solidarity as we confront the consequences of the global pandemic. Make us courageous in embracing the changes required to seek the common good. Now more than ever, may we all feel interconnected and interdependent. Enable us to succeed in listening and responding to the cry of the earth and to the cry of the poor for peace and prosperity. May our current sufferings become the birth pangs of a more fraternal and sustainable world, a civilization of love. Thank you. Thank you very much for the Burgese and the organizers for the chance to moderate this session, to participate in this great event of Peace Convention. Over to the organizers, whether to continue with the discussion or to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir, for conducting this session, Peace Education for Civilization of Love, in an excellent manner. Thank you so much, sir.
You're
Thank
most
you
welcome.
also for your enlightening concluding words. And as you briefed about the 4 pillars of education and seeing the National Education Policy 2020, I think it's going hand by hand because the focus is on interdisciplinary approach and the holistic development. So taking the peace as a learning outcome, it's a part of each and every syllabus. It's a very rightly said that the education, the peace education should not be restricted to one, but to the all streams. Thank you for reminding us about the 17 sustainable goals and the way you have presented the entire session before us. I thank you. I thank you and all the participants, all the panelists, Dr. Leema, Dr. Miss Sanjoli, Miss Angel, and Miss Radia. This was a wonderful session, and it's a thought-provoking. I think all the participants, they are now they are in such a position that it's not only just talking about the peace, but do some action. So thank you all for this wonderful session, what you all have presented before us. We have now reached the end of this session, and therefore I invite Sister Leema Varghese to propose the formal vote of thanks. Over to you, Sister Leema.
Honorable Chairperson, Dr. Jose, vibrant speakers, and the respected participants, good afternoon to all of you. During this session, we listened to 5 speakers on the theme, Peace Education for Civilization of Love. For learned professor told us about the significance of peace education and how it can contribute to create an atmosphere of peace. They also enlightened us on the ways and means of peace education and motivated us to get involved in peace education. Dr. Jose Nandikara, the chairman of the session, in his address complimented what the 5 speakers shared with us. On behalf of the National Peace Movement and all participants, I thank you, Dr. Jose, wholeheartedly. Sincerely, I thank the 5 speakers, Dr. Leema Dhar, Sanjoli Banerjee, Miss Edwaed, and Miss Radia Bakkouch. I also extend my sincere gratitude to all participants. Thank you for all. Once again, let me conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Thank you all for your active participation, and it's time for lunch. We shall meet in the next session, which will start sharp at 4:30, and it will be a session in Hindi with a popular demand, and it's a very interesting session with eminent speakers, and the session is preserving the heritage of unity in diversity to sustain peace and harmony, शांति और सद्भाव बनाए रखने के लिए विविधता में एकता की विरासत का संरक्षण. This is a very interesting session. So I request all the participants be on time and on the Zoom link that's provided to you. So we'll again meet at 4:30 sharp. Thank you. Till that, goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
very much.
Thank you very